Okay, in this video we're going to look at how we map out inverse functions, so how to find an inverse function for a function. So we're going to take a function which is first of all is just simply 2x. So I'm going to map this out step by step. I start with x. The first thing that happens to x, and the only thing in this case, it is multiplied by 2, so coming out of the box will be 2x. Now let's look at the inverse. So we start from the answer and work our way back. So we're going to start as if we had x at the beginning, and we're going to work our way back to the start. So the inverse of multiplied by 2 is divided by 2. So coming out of the box would be x divided by 2. And the key here is just how we write it. We write it x. The horizontal line represents divide or division, and so we've got x divided by 2 is our inverse function. So our inverse function will be written as x over 2. Right, moving on to a second example. Our function this time is 2x minus 3, which means there's multiple steps here. So let's map out the steps. We start with x. The first thing that happened to x is it is multiplied by 2. So coming out of that box would be 2x, and 2x would then go into the next step, which is to take away 3. So coming out of the second box would be 2x minus 3. So we've mapped out the original function, and now all we do is start from the right hand side with our x. We're going to work our way back, and the inverse of take away 3 is to add 3. So if x goes into the box, coming out of that box would be x plus 3. And then going into the second box, the inverse of multiplied by 2 is divide by 2, which means the whole of x plus 3 is then divided by 2. So this would be written as x plus 3 divided by 2. So our inverse function will be written as x plus 3 divided by 2. So map out the function, and then just map the inverse functions back across to the start. Our last example is looking at a function 4 times x plus 2. So we've got to remember our BODMAS rules here in terms of the order of the operation. The first thing that's done is inside the brackets, which we'll be adding 2 to x. So coming out of the first box would be our x plus 2. The second part of the operation is to multiply that by 4. So coming out of the second box would be 4 lots of x plus 2. Just about read that. Now we're going to work back across. So we start from the right hand side with our x. The first operation is the inverse of multiply by 4, which is divide by 4. So coming out of our first operation will be x divided by 4. And the inverse of add 2 is to subtract 2, which means it's x divided by 4 and then we subtract 2. So we just have to be very careful how we write this. It's x divided by 4 and then we subtract 2. So our inverse function would be written as x divided by 2 x divided by 4 take away 2. So if you map out the function and match up the inverse operations, shouldn't go far wrong.